everyone. Today we're going to be looking at the hero's journey, and then we're going to start to plot out Lachlan's journey into our hero's journey structure. This structure is very helpful for prose writing, story writing, play writing, musical writing, everything. It's an extremely helpful tool because it lets you plot out your protagonist's story ready for fleshing out later. So let's get into it. Now, the hero's journey, and we're going to be using the one that's been made by Joseph Campbell. It's a narrative structure that consists of several stages that can guide the protagonist's transformation. So we're going to begin to map out Lachlan's journey in Heather and Stone using this format. So here is the structure of the hero's journey, and we're going to follow it around. So our first step is the ordinary world. So this will be where we open our musical. So Lachlan, he's a dedicated crofter living peacefully in his village. He works the land, he cherishes his community, and he's perhaps harbouring a growing affection for Ailey. Then we move on to step 2, which is the call to adventure. So news reaches Lachlan of Lord McTavish's plans to clear out the village ready for sheep farming because it's more profitable. So this threat of eviction is looming large over the whole community. We then move on to step 3, which is the refusal of the call. So while Lachlan is angered and shocked about this news, he might initially be hoping that the news is actually just a rumour, or that McTavish is going to reconsider. He might even be urged by some, like Ailey, to just not get involved because there might be the fear that there'll be repercussions if he does get involved. Then we begin step 4, which is meeting the mentor. So Lachlan could consult the village elders, or some local legends, or perhaps even some outsiders who are familiar with the broader political landscape. So that could be our visitor from the lowlands, or he might travel to a neighbouring village or one of the big cities or towns nearby just to try and find out what's actually going on here. And this will help him gather some wisdom and some guidance for the challenges ahead. We then move on to step 5, which is crossing the threshold. And this is where Lachlan could have a confrontation with McTavish's representatives, which signifies his full commitment to resisting the clearances. And from this point forward, there's no turning back. And then in step 6, we've got tests, allies, and enemies. So as Lachlan begins to rally the community, he encounters challenges. So this could be villagers that are skeptical of having a resistance. There might be some villagers who they just want to leave quietly. They're just going to accept their fate and go. He could have a confrontation with McTavish's enforcers, so the men that are sent to just get the eviction done, get everyone out of the village. There could even be some legal roadblocks, so Lachlan could go to one of the towns, meet with some solicitors or lawyers and find out, is there a way to stop this or halt it, or is there a loophole that can buy them more time? He could discover allies in some neighbouring villages. That McTavish, he owns vast Highlands estates, so there might be other villages and they could begin to band together. Or there might be some sympathisers outside of the Highlands. So there might be people in the lowlands that are thinking, that's not right, and they might want to sympathise and assist. Then we move on to step 7, which is approaching the innermost cave. So we're starting to get to that midpoint of the story. And this is where the stakes increase as the date of the eviction gets nearer. Lachlan, with his closest allies, they begin to devise a final plan to confront McTavish. It could be a massive protest. It could be a last plea for negotiations, or it could be a more daring move. Are they going to have a more violent altercation? This is where we're getting to that point. And then we come to step 8, which is the ordeal. And this is where I sort of envision Act 1 finishing at this point. So this is the climax. Lachlan and the community face off against MacTavish's forces. This could be a dramatic confrontation. It will be filled with emotional exchanges, potentially violence, and the tangible threat of loss. And then we come to step 9, which is the reward, or the season of the sword. So this is after that consultation has taken place. Even if they haven't managed to prevent the eviction, Lachlan's efforts might yield some reward. It could be a concession from MacTavish. It could be a raising of a broader awareness and support of their plight. Or it could simply be the undeniable proof of the community being united and having that united front and united spirit. We then come to step 10, which is the road back. So, facing the aftermath of the climax, Lachlan starts to lead his community towards rebuilding. It could be on their ancestral land or it could be elsewhere. It depends whether they were successful in preventing the eviction or not. We then come to step 11, which is resurrection. So this is the story's final moments. This is where there's the test of Lachlan's leadership, his wisdom and the unity of the community as a whole. They're put to one last challenge, which is to ensure a lasting legacy. And then step 12, the final step, which is the return with the Alexa. So this is where Lachlan, he's transformed. He's no longer a simple crofter. He's been transformed into a leader, an emblematic leader, and he guides his community into a new chapter. Their story, the resilience, the spirit, they've become a beacon to others that are facing a similar situation, and they represent the hope and the enduring human spirit. So that's a rough outline of Heather and Stone. So that's the draft outline of how the main story is going to be structured. I don't know why there's two of me. There will be subplots plotted in. So what's Lard MacTavish been up to? What's Morag and Ailey? What are all their little stories that can intertwine into the whole main story? So next time what we're going to do is we're going to develop Lachlan further. We're going to look at what are his flaws and how do these flaws impact on his journey. So until next time, I hope you all have a good one and I will see you tomorrow.